Hi, my name is Lorna. I've been a nutritional therapist for over a decade, specialising in women's health. I got my periods age 13 and I had really painful leg pain, not abdominal pain, but leg pain, which was a weird symptom to have, and no one knew what was going on. And I probably missed a day, a month during menstruation from school. And, in the 90s, it was difficult because obviously friends would say, why are you off school again? And my period pain and leg pain was so bad that if I was at someone's house, I'd have to leave their house. My mum would have to come and pick me up. So this went on for some time, and I was lucky to have parents who were into herbal medicine and nutrition. But at this time, no one was even talking about endometriosis. And so when I got into my 20s, and got even more into working on my own health and started my own training as well, but to become a professional practitioner, I didn't even have suspicions then, because again, it wasn't even part of conversations. But as the years went on, I sort of did. And then when I had a diagnosis, it kind of made sense. But in the meantime, I'd been working for years on nutrition and my own health. Everyone has a journey. And honestly, when I had the diagnosis where you actually get a full concept of like how much is there or not, I have a very, very small amount. And I honestly think that it would be a lot worse if I wasn't, taking my supplements, looking after my health and lifestyle, eating well, but also figuring out which foods are right for me, which foods were a trigger for pain and all sorts of things, and which supplements made more of a difference than others. And so, I actually feel so lucky to actually have endo, but it's a small amount really, rather than it becoming much, much, much worse. As someone who has specialised in this condition for some time now, for over 10 years, and I've worked with thousands of women who have endo, there's an interesting narrative, which is that surgery is amazing, and I have so much respect for surgeons, specialist surgeons, who do amazing, detailed, kind of very, very sort of intricate work on endo and has amazing results. But there is kind of this narrative that once you've had surgery, that's kind of it. And I think it misses out two things. One is that within 5 years, you have a good chance of endo coming back. So if you're looking at, changing your lifestyle, changing your diet, looking at supplements, nutrient testing, that is going to be an important part of you, aiming to prolong having to have more surgery or repeated surgeries even so soon, because endo is a 360 condition. So it affects all parts of your body, and it's really common to end up with other diseases and symptoms alongside it. So if you're thinking about, say, the health of your thyroid, how your energy is, your iron levels, all sorts of things, thinking about, healthy menstruation for fertility, any of those things, it's not just thinking I've got endo and that's it. It's thinking about supporting your whole body. And that's really where everything kind of comes into place. So I think that the message is that dealing with endo has to be, looking at multiple areas of your life, looking at conventional aspects and weaving that into nutrition and things, and to support all those key areas. I mean, for example, fatigue is a really, really common problem in endo, or experiencing, gut issues, or, brain fog and lack of mental clarity and all sorts of things. And so nutrition and changes in lifestyle are playing a role in not just helping your endo, but also helping you too. And I can definitely say that for myself. And I have known times in my life where if I'm not looking after myself as much as I could do, because hey, I'm also human as well, not just a nutritionist, or you have a week where you had a holiday and you had more glasses of wine than you would normally, and I can kind of feel a little bit of endo pain there. So, I also know if I don't look after myself, the niggles kind of come back. So that's for me is the proof of being human and experiencing this condition, but knowing the value of it, for myself, but also for clients and anyone else I kind of interact with, all of our customers at Wild Nutrition as well. So I would give this advice for myself, but also for women experiencing endometriosis. My kind of favourite products that I use and then also recommend all of the time are, let's start with Endo Complex. So Endo Complex really covers so many of the kind of bases and symptoms and issues. And so the big one would be looking at estrogen. So estrogen is a big issue in endometriosis. It creates more endo, it creates pain, inflammation, etc. It becomes a problem in other areas as well, affecting other symptoms. And so this formula is really, really good at metabolizing estrogen, which is basically a kind of posh word for making sure that once you're producing estrogen, you can actually produce it and then get rid of it, because also if it builds up, it creates more problems as well. That formula is also great for the immune system. Women that have endo have a dysfunctional immune system, so a way of getting on top of the condition and also lessening the disease progression, so it happening more, is by making sure that the immune system is really good and working properly, so not also overworking, which creates a autoimmune aspect, which is part of endo, and not also underworking. If it's underworking, you're not going to heal and recover. It is so good for mood. It's great for for example, I meet ladies that have endo who, definitely feel more anxious, feel low mood, can get a little bit almost depressed. This formula is brilliant for mood, and it's great for energy. Fatigue is a real hallmark of endometriosis. So really you've got the inflammation, pain management, great for very heavy periods, great for also if you have symptoms which feels like estrogen dominance. So you've got maybe sort of more firmer, tender breasts. You just feel more hormonal. If your cycle is irregular, this is great for regulating the cycle. So you've got immune system support, you've got inflammation support, you've got mood support, you've got energy support. It's such a great all-rounder. And then I'd say the next two that are my favorites that I also recommend are omega-3. So none of us at all eat enough oily fish, and it's such an important anti-inflammatory. So it works as an anti-inflammatory by making sure that your immune system works properly. But then also if there's, too much inflammation, it will help it to sort of soothe and calm it down. And considering, we're not eating enough in our diet, a lot of us are lacking it, and that's why supplementation is going to be really key. And our omega-3 is high dose, particularly high dose in EPA, which is important for inflammation. And also, again, for the condition of your skin, for your mood, for everything. So it's a great all-rounder as well. So if you have other symptoms as well as endo, omega-3 is going to be important for you too. And then my final favorite one is turmeric, which is the most amazing anti-inflammatory. So I would say, definitely become a member of Endo UK charity, because that's a great place where you feel like, if you're feeling lonely and by yourself, there is actually a charity out there, working with the government, working on, raising awareness. They are professionally taking that subject and putting it into the limelight. So that's a great place. Become not an endo nerd, but do your research in terms of understanding the condition better and what's going to work for you. So looking at nutritional appointments, booking with a nutritionist, booking with us at Wild for a consultation, read Henrietta's book. But also that my advice is that there are specialist doctors and nurses who specialize even more in endo, and those are people to maybe look out for in terms of getting a consultant appointment or contacting them. And there are even special endo clinics across the country, because I sometimes find that maybe a gynecologist who's dealing with, delivering babies or fibroids or whatever is not so specialised in endo. And actually, luckily these days, it's becoming even more of an area where it's normal to try and find a specialist, and they're accessible as well. Should I do that again? I didn't know if you needed more.